Hello students. Today I'll be teaching you about population explosion and birth control with a special focus on contraceptives. Now this topic is taken from the chapter Reproductive Health from 12th Biology. The following were the reasons for population explosion which was observed in 1950s. The first one is decline in maternal mortality rate, decline in infant mortality rate, and increase in number of people in reproducible age. Now the first two reasons, which is decline in maternal mortality rate and decline in infant mortality rate, were due to the implementation of program family planning or reproductive child health care from the year 1951 by Government of India. Due to various steps taken to take care of pregnant mothers and also due to care of children after they are born, both maternal mortality rate and infant mortality rate greatly reduced. As a result of these, along with advancement in science and technology, for example, like invention of incubators for premature babies, and advancement in medical sciences like vaccines against deadly diseases like smallpox, there was a huge increase in rate of population growth which led to population explosion. Now at the time of India's independence, India's population was about 350 million, and in a span of just 50 years, the population increased to about 1000 million or 1 billion. Now in 2000 AD, the world population was about 6 billion. Therefore, one individual out of 6 persons on earth was an Indian. Now alarmed by this, Government of India took various steps in order to check this population explosion. Some of them are educating people about importance of small family, increasing marriageable age for both boys and girls. It was made 21 in boys and 18 in girls. As a result of these, married couples would spend together less time in their reproducible age, thereby having less number of children. Another important step was educating people and married couples about various methods of contraceptives. Now let us see what are contraceptives. Contraceptives are either devices or methods used to prevent unwanted pregnancies. There are various types of contraceptives available in the market. All these contraceptives can be classified into groups like natural contraceptives or natural methods, barrier methods, IUDs, oral contraceptives, and surgical methods or sterilization. Let us take up this natural method of contraception, which is believed to prevent chance meeting of sperm with egg. The first natural contraceptive we would study is periodic abstinence. Now it is based on the fact that a female is not fertile throughout her menstrual cycle. That is, she is fertile only at a certain stage of her menstrual cycle, which is referred to as fertile time or fertile period. Now this fertile period is around day 14 when she ovulates the egg. Now since egg is viable for 3 days and sperms are viable for up to 2 days, in order to increase efficiency of this method, couples are advised in this method to abstain from coitus or sexual intercourse 3 days before day 14, that is from day 10 to 3 days after day 14, which is up to day 17. So in periodic abstinence, couples abstain from sexual intercourse from day 10 to day 17, during which female ovulates and during which she is most fertile. The second natural method is Coitus Interruptus. Coitus interruptus is simply withdrawal of penis from female reproductive tract and preventing ejaculation into it, thereby not making sperms available for fertilization. Now, one of the drawbacks of coitus interruptus is before male would ejaculate without his knowledge, some of the sperms would leak along with secretions of a gland called bulbourethral gland, which is meant to bring about lubrication of penis. So these leaked sperms before ejaculation could bring about fertilization of oocyte leading to pregnancy. The third natural method is lactational amenorrhea. Now, amenorrhea is a temporary cease or halt of menstrual cycle in female. Now, please remember, amenorrhea is different from menopause. Menopause is a permanent ceasing of menstrual cycle in female, whereas amenorrhea is only a temporary pause or halt in menstrual cycle of the female. Now, one of the cases of amenorrhea which is seen in females is during pregnancy. As soon as the embryo would implant into the endometrium of the uterus, pregnancy begins, and from that month onwards, female would not observe her menstrual cycle. And this ceasing of menstrual cycle doesn't end at parturition or childbirth, but it continues beyond parturition as long as a female is intensely lactating. Hence, this amenorrhea is called lactational amenorrhea. Now, why the amenorrhea which began at pregnancy continues up to 6 months after parturition is because it is believed that it is one of the ways of nature to give rest to female so that she could recover from the trauma of pregnancy, and meanwhile she could take care and feed the infant with her breast milk. Now, lactational amenorrhea works like this. As long as the female is intensely lactating and feeding the child with her breast milk, the suckling action of the nipple would stimulate her hypothalamus, thereby decreasing or disrupting the release of GnRH hormone. Now, this reduction in release of GnRH hormone would hypostimulate maternal pituitary, thereby reducing the level of gonadotropins, which would not allow the menstrual cycle to begin, hence no ovulation. Now, one of the drawbacks of this method is lactational amenorrhea works only up to 6 months after parturition. And beyond 6 months, the efficiency of this contraceptive method drastically reduces. Let us look at the next method of contraception, which is a barrier method. Now, one of the most popular barrier method is condoms. Now, condoms are sheath of latex or rubber which are available for both males as well as females. Now, male condom is rolled onto the erect penis before sexual intercourse, wherein the insemination is collected in the tip of the condom called reservoir chamber, thereby preventing its entry into the female reproductive tract. Female condom has to be used by the female by inserting it into vagina as shown here. It is very important to insert the closed end of the female condom inside so that the semen inseminated during sexual intercourse is not allowed to enter the female reproductive tract. Now, other barrier methods are diaphragm, cervical caps, and cervical vaults. Now, diaphragm, caps, and vaults are small hat-like or cap-like structure which are to be inserted into vagina to close the opening of cervix, thereby not allowing sperms to enter into the upper region of female reproductive tract. Now, many times in order to increase the contraceptive efficiency of these diaphragm, caps, and vaults, they are used along with a jelly called contraceptive jelly. This contraceptive jelly makes it easy for the female to insert these devices into the vagina, as well as a substance called spermicide present in these jellies would kill any sperm which comes close with the contact of these devices inside the female reproductive tract. Now, what is the difference between the first barrier method, which is contraceptive, when compared to the other three barrier methods, diaphragm, caps and warts? The first difference is condoms are available for both male as well as the female, whereas the other barrier methods like diaphragm, caps and warts are available only for the female. The second difference is condoms are to be disposed after single use, that is, they are not reusable, whereas diaphragm, caps and warts are reusable. Another important point about condom is, along with contraception, they also have additional benefit of preventing spread of STDs or sexually transmitted diseases. Let us move to the third method of contraception, which is intrauterine devices. Now, intrauterine devices are small devices which are inserted into the uterus until the female desires to become pregnant. These intrauterine devices can be categorized into non-medicated IUDs. Best example is Lippes loop. And there are also medicated IUDs which would release certain agents like copper in case of copper releasing IUDs and certain hormones like progestogen. Now, generally, IUDs increase phagocytosis of sperms in female reproductive tract, thereby reducing the chances of fertilization. Copper ions released from copper releasing IUDs like copper T, copper 7 and multilode 375 decrease the motility of sperms and also their fertilization capacity. Hormones like progestogen secreted by hormone releasing IUDs like progestasert and LNG20 make uterus unsuitable for implantation, and they also make cervix hostile for the sperms. Now let us see how an IUD is inserted into the uterus of female reproductive tract with the help of a tube as shown here. Now once the IUD is released, it is adjusted into the uterus with the same tube before the tube is pulled out from the female reproductive tract. Now notice a small thread at the posterior end of the IUD. This thread is used to pull the IUD when the female desires to become pregnant. So this is how an IUD is inserted into the uterus and carefully removed when the female desires to get pregnant. Let us move to the fourth method of contraception, which is oral contraceptives. Now, oral contraceptives are taken through oral route, and these are mostly in the form of tablets. Now, one popular example of oral contraceptive is the tablet Saheli, which was invented in CDRI or Central Drug Research Institute located in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Now, the point to be remembered about Saheli is a non-steroidal preparation oral contraceptive. That means it doesn't contain any steroidal hormones, thereby making it highly effective and having least side effects. Now, previous to Saheli, oral contraceptives used to contain hormonal formula, and these oral contraceptives had to be taken once every day, whereas Saheli is once a week oral pill, and it also has least side effects. Now let us move to the fifth and last method of contraceptive, which is sterilization. Sterilization is also known as surgical method of contraception, and although it is highly effective, its reversibility is very poor. So couples generally go for sterilization once they are very sure that they don't want to expand their family any further. Now, the two methods of sterilization are vasectomy in males, where a part of the vas deferens is cut and the ends of the vas deferens are tied, thereby preventing the transport of sperms into semen. Now, the surgical method or sterilization for females is called tubectomy, where a part of the fallopian tube is cut and the cut ends of the fallopian tube are tied, thereby preventing transport of oocyte into the fallopian tube. Other methods of contraceptions are injectables. These are mainly progestogen or progestogen-estrogen hormone combination which are injected into the female, those who don't desire to get pregnant. Another method of contraception is subdermal implants. Now, implants are small plastic rods with the ability to release hormones like progestogen up to 3 years of implantation. Now, a female can get these implants removed from under the skin when she desires to get pregnant. Another popular contraceptive is emergency contraceptive. These emergency contraceptives are also known as morning after pills. Now, the reason why it is called as emergency is because it has to be administered within 72 hours after unprotected sexual intercourse, hence the name emergency. Now, what agents can be used as emergency contraceptive? Generally, injectables like progestogen or progestogen-estrogen combination or IUDs can be used as emergency contraceptives. Now, oral pills which contain progestogen or progestogen-estrogen combination, if used within 72 hours of unprotected sexual intercourse, can also act as emergency contraceptives. Now, unlike other methods of contraception, emergency contraceptives are used after unprotected sexual intercourse. Now, under what circumstances emergency contraceptives are advised? Generally, emergency contraceptives are advised in case of failure of contraceptive, like rupturing of condom, or in case of rapes and casual unprotected sexual intercourse. An unprotected sexual intercourse is one during which no contraceptive was used or no precaution was taken. Now, let us see what are the different side effects of contraceptives. So, here I have given you a list of side effects of contraceptives. Please remember, all these effects are not seen in any one given contraceptive. So, the list is made from taking side effects of different contraceptives. The first side effect is abdominal pain, which is seen in case of intrauterine devices, which cause discomfort in abdomen to the female. The second one is nausea, which are due to oral pills. The third side effect, breakthrough bleeding, is also one of the side effects of oral contraceptives. Breakthrough bleeding is bleeding in the middle of menstrual cycle. So generally, if females forget to take the daily oral pill, then they would have small bleeding, which is known as breakthrough bleeding. Now, breakthrough bleeding is not same as menses. Menses occurs at the beginning of the menstrual cycle, whereas breakthrough bleeding occurs in the middle of menstrual cycle. The next side effect is irregular menstrual bleeding. This is also one of the side effects of oral contraceptive. And the last one, breast cancer. Now, this breast cancer was one of the side effects of previous generation of oral contraceptives which contained steroidal preparation. Whereas in the new generation of oral contraceptives like Saheli, these side effects are not observed. Now, let us see what are the features of ideal contraceptive. An ideal contraceptive is one which must be easily available, inexpensive. It must be easy to use, preferably by single individual. its efficiency must be high. That is, every time a contraceptive is used, there must be. Now let us look at the features of ideal contraceptive. Now an ideal contraceptive must fulfill all these 6 features which are listed here, starting with its availability. It must be easily available, cost effective, it must be user friendly, it must be highly effective. That is, anytime a couple decides to go with a contraceptive, they must be sure that it would always work. That is called efficiency. It must be reversible. At any time, if couples decide to have children and stop using a contraceptive, they should not see any more effect of the contraceptive preventing them from having children. This property is known as reversibility. The next one is, it must not interfere with the desire to have sex, which is known as sex drive. And the last being, it must have least side effects.